Hello everyone and welcome. Today I'm going to be talking to you about the add-on Bagnon. This is a great add-on. It consolidates all of the bags and puts them into one big bag. This allows you to see your items a lot easier. You can use it to view your items in your bank regardless of where you are. You can view your alts items both in the bag and the bank. However, you must have logged into these characters beforehand for their inventory and bank to display properly. If there's items which you have when mouse overed, they will show you other characters which also have that item and how many in total of those items you have. You can hide bags, so if you only have if you have regent bags within your bags and you don't want them showing, you can have them hidden so they don't take up too much screen room that's unnecessary when you're just looking through the other things in your bags. There's also other features such as search, and you can change the settings for both your bag and inventory and things like that. They need to be customized separately. So if we just open Bagnon now to have a look, you open it by just pressing your keybind to open your bags, or any one of these bags down here. Either's fine. So this is what my bag looks like. You will see immediately that some of these items have highlights around them. For example, these rare quality items have a blue line around their image, and these green quality items have a green one, and these legendary ones have an orange glow around them. So this basically makes it easier for me to see what items I have in my bag. So if I know I've just picked up a legendary item, it'll be orange, or epic will be purple. So I'd know just to click for the purple things in my bag. So what I can do is I can use this cog here to go and open up the configurations, and if I click on the Bagnon, I get a general configuration setting. This allows me to enable the inventory and bank frames rather. So this comes into effect next time I log in, but this just disables this whole frame and it would be a normal bag, and the same with the bank. But we want to keep these on, obviously, because that's what we use the add-on for. You can lock the frame positions, so as this is disabled right now, I can freely move this around, but if I lock it, I can't move it, it stays here. So I keep that unlocked because sometimes I need to move my inventories or my bank around depending on what I'm doing. You can have a background for empty item slots, so these items here, there's nothing here, so I've got a background. If not, it's just invisible and I just see straight through them. I prefer the background because it just makes the bag feel a bit more whole, I feel. Disable bags when clicked. This allows you to hide bags, so like I said earlier, if you have a regent bag and you don't really need your regent showing when you're just generally having a look in your bag, you can hide it, but you can also show it again later if you need it. This flash find, it basically allows you to use commands when searching for things. There's a special syntax. For example, if I did Q for query : epic, it'll find all of the epic items. However, this isn't enabled and it still seems to work, so I'm not really sure why that is, but I can also search for everything that's not epic. So all of my epic items are being grayed out and everything else is here. There's a list of the commands on the internet which show you these things. And this frame fading, if I disable it, these will just kind of snap in and out, but if I have the frame, it fades in a bit nicer. It's just personal preference. And this enable tooltip item count, so if I disable this, I just have normal item tooltips. But if I enable this tooltip item count, I will see that my tooltips have been expanded when I hover over this item. Now this shows me that I have 24 of these on my priest, but it also shows me all the other characters I have which also have this item. So for example, my hunter has 2 in its bags and 40 in its bank, so this is displayed in the parentheses here, whereas my druid only has 2 in its bags, but it also shows my grand total as well, so I have 113 elder moonstones in my possession for some strange reason. But I can also use it on these big crates of salvage, so I know I've got a big salvage session coming up soon where I've not been doing it and been a bit lazy. So this is useful for keeping track of where some items are. It also allows you to look for insignias and things like that, so just anything really. Any item you have, you can cross-check it with your other characters as long as you've logged in on them before and they're on the same realm. Speaking of looking at your other characters' things, I'll just come out of this for a minute. I can click on this portrait to the left of the bags thing to see my other characters. So I click on it and this list appears and I can have a look at my monk's bag. So this is all the stuff that my monk currently has in its inventory. So this is handy to know. I've got some stuff that I've got from quests and found while killing mobs, and if I needed to look at my druids, I can have a look at my druid's bag. It's great for things like that. If I had a mining sack, I could just hide it and it would hide all my ore and I'd just see all the other things, or I could hide everything else and just show this the regent's bags. It's very useful for things like this. I can also see what's in my bag, so if I just click here, it shows my priest bank, everything in it, and the same again, I can look at my monk's bank, mage's bank, and they'll just be able to see what my alts have in their banks. It's great. So if I needed some raw boar meat, then I'd know that, well, my mage has 1, so I still need to either buy or farm a lot more. So this is great for things like that. There's also more ways I can customize it by going into this frame settings bit and make sure that the one I want to customize, because each one has to be done individually. So for example, my inventory has a white border, whereas my bank has a yellow frame border. Just, so it's easy to see which is different, never mind the fact that my bank is a lot bigger than my bags. So I can enable the bag frame, which is this here. So if I Oh, this is my bank, that's why. So if I get rid of it, this bit just disappears. I can show the money. I can enable the data broker thing. This is important if you want to see what's in your bank, because this is the icon that you click. You can also siphon through other add-ons that are compatible with this data broker thing, but I usually just use it for the Bagnon thing. But if you accidentally click the arrow, you can just flick backwards and forwards through until you find your bag symbol. The sort button, I have this disabled because if I've clicked it far too many times by accident and it's completely rearranged everything in my bag and sorted it with the way that Blizzard sort it when you use that auto sort feature. So I don't have it because I like certain stuff to be in certain places, and everything else just is what I would like to call an organised mess, because I know where everything is, but nobody else does. I can also enable or disable the search feature and the options thing. This reverse bag slot ordering just does what it says. It reverses where your things are in your bag. And this enable bag break layout just shows you where your bag stops. So this is the initial backpack you get is here, and this first royal satchel is these 3 lines, and the second one is those 3 lines, and this ember soaked bag is the ones highlighted there, so it's those 2 lines there, and the last one is the bottom 2 lines. But I generally just like to keep it in this sort of shape. I prefer not to have the bag separated. This layer thing shows where it appears in conjunction to the other menus. So if I open up my character menu and set this to low, it's gonna appear behind it, behind my character. But if I set it to high or top level, it's gonna be on top of it. Quite self-explanatory. Columns, this shows how many columns will appear, so I've got 11 columns, but if I change it, obviously more columns will appear and there'll be less rows. So I'll put this back to 11. Spacing is this little gap in between each of the bag slot spaces. So if I make this quite large, it's quite a big difference to what I had before, but everything's all spaced out. So I'll just put this back to the, or you can have it at negative numbers, but it doesn't look very nice. I like to keep it at 2, then there's like enough to be a sort of spatial border, but not enough to be in your face about it. The scale, this basically increases the size of the image, so you can have a massive bag space on your screen, or you can keep it quite small. I prefer to keep it at 100% because I feel it's quite a nice size. And this just basically increases or decreases the transparency, but I like to properly see it, so I just keep the opacity at 100. And you can also change these settings for your bank as well. Obviously there's more columns in more bag spaces in the bank, so a higher column number is usually better, but I generally keep the other things the same. I've also disabled the sort button on my bank as well, so if I were to show you my bank now, you can see that it's got the yellow border. More or less everything is the same, except this is just bigger. this automatic display will show, it allows you to automatically have it, so whenever I visit the bank my inventory will show up. So if I go and talk to the banker here, my inventory immediately shows up at the same time as the bank does. So if I disabled it here and close my bag, when I talk to him, just my bank shows up, my bag stays shut. So that's a nice little tool that helps save a little bit of time. You can also have the same thing for when you're visiting an auction house, or trading, or gemming items, or even crafting. You can also do it when visiting the guild bank and opening up your player frame. Player frame is basically just your character info. So if I open this up, my bag also appears as well. So that can sometimes be quite handy. And if not, I can just press my hotkey just to close it again. Oops. Also, you can close it automatically when leaving a vendor, so once you finish vendoring your things, instead of closing your bag, you just finish talking to the vendor and your bag will close automatically instead of staying on the screen. And the same for when you enter combat, your bag will just automatically close, and when entering a vehicle. There's also frame color settings as well. I can change the color of the frame. So if I wanted purple, I could have this nice purple color. This would make it more solid, and this is more transparent. I usually have a blackish sort of color, so it's just kind of like a dark transparent thing. And you can change the border color as well. Again, more solid, more transparent, a lighter variation of color, dark variation of the color. And other color settings include highlighting the items by quality. So if I untick that, all this green glows and things I was talking about earlier will disappear. But this highlight new items thing, this is very handy. So if I were to get a new item in my bag, it would like highlight it. So if I had not many spaces here and I got an item here or here, it would have a glow about it, so I could tell this was my new item, so I could find it easily and vendor it or equip it quite quickly. This is a very useful one, this highlight equipment set items. This basically allows all the items that are saved in these gear sets will be highlighted with this blue wash over. So when I'm vendoring things or disenchanting things, I know that I need the items in these sets because these are bits of gear that I want to keep, and it makes the likelihood of accidentally getting rid of them a lot less. These highlight unusable items. It will highlight any item that you can't use. It will give it a big red border, so you know that that character is unable to use that item. So if I were to look at my hunter stuff, I cannot use this mail thing, so it's got this red border around it, and the same with this pickaxe here. Highlight quest items. These are highlighted in a sort of yellowish color, I think. Yeah, this is counted as quest items, so they've got this yellow border around them because obviously these are hand-ins, so they're kind of a quest. And the color empty slots by bag type. So if I had herbalism bags and I had empty spaces here, they would show up in this green color. I can also customize this color, so maybe if I wanted a darker green, I could have it like that instead. So that would be my empty slots color for my herbalism bag, and normal empty slots will be, I don't know, I could make them red or green, or put them back to white. Well, there's many things you can do. You can also decrease the brightness of the highlights, but I prefer to keep it at 100 because then they're just so much easier to spot. Bagnon can also be used for guild things, so the guild bank, and you can also use it for void storage. So if I open up the guild bank, I can look at the money log, the tab information, or the transactions logs, but it seems to be a bit buggy, so I don't generally use this. I generally disable the guild module. But one thing that you can do, if you clicked one of these up here and you're trying to look at the items, you have to unclick it first for the items to appear. And this is, oh, it's working a bit now, that's okay. So again, if I wanted to change tabs, I'd have to make sure it was unclicked, and I can search for things. So if I wanted to search for the recipes, I don't even need to type in the full thing because it's looking for anything containing REC. So these are the only two recipes here, so they're the only ones showing up. I can also use it for void storage. So if I go to the void storage person, this is what happens when I open it up. It's still got this sort thing here and the bags, but if I want to put something in void storage, I just put it in my bag and then press this transfer thing, and it gives you the message saying, well, it's going to be non-refundable, etc., and it will just put it in for me. It doesn't really seem to be, and to take it out I just have to select anything I want to take out. So the things you select will have this sort of, they'll be greyed out a bit, and you just transfer and it will show you all the things you've selected, and you can wish to continue or not, and then you can just close it as normal. But I personally prefer the Blizzard void storage and guild banks because I just feel they work a bit better for me. But overall, I think this is a really great add-on, and I highly recommend it as a alternative for the Blizzard bank and inventory UI. Thank you for watching. I hope you all have a great day. Take care.